Hello, 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 amazing hackers. Hope you're all doing well today. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get some graphics on screen, shall we? And I'm going to start a cybersecurity space on Twitter as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop in and come and ask them there directly, or of course drop them in the chat. We have enough questions to go around, that's for sure, because we've been sending out like a document that people can fill in with some questions. But of course, any other questions you might have, all are welcome for sure. I'm going to put my pop filter right, there we go, now in front of my microphone. That shouldn't be a problem anymore. If the music is too loud or my voice is too soft, feel free to let me know. And I also think that we should let people know that we have gotten started. There we go. Let's remove that starting soon thingy. Hope you're doing well. First question, I see two questions quickly coming in from the chat. I'll answer them, or at least one. How much is your experience with black hat hacking stuff? Like in terms of unethical stuff? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Jesus. What kind of question is that? Black hat stuff? Never heard of it. Ooh, so silly. The next question comes in from I don't know who. These questions are anonymous. How many hours is it really necessary to hack in a day for a person who is completely new to hacking? And will there be a network penetration testing in the CNWPP exam? So how many hours a day you need to hack really depends on what your goal is and in what time frame you realistically plan to achieve that goal, if that makes any sense. If I want to be a pen tester and I want to be at a decent level, I need to know certain tools by a certain date, so I'm going to set myself a little bit of a plan there. By that, I can break down how many hours I should spend a day, because I know about my learning speed. I try to be pretty aware of my own learning speed, of how fast I can learn things. Of course, it's always an estimation. I'm always wrong, but it's an estimation. It's better than nothing. And then I at least have like an idea of how many hours I should spend a day to get a project done. Like for example, if I'm just making a new course, then it depends. Okay, I need to spend like 2 or 3 hours a week to do this and 2 or 3 hours to do that. So how many hours you should realistically spend depends. Now again, if anybody from the audience has any questions, feel free to drop them as well. Would love to answer those. Application secure. Oh, sorry. You also asked, my bad. Will there be a network penetration testing in the CNWPP exam? Yeah, that's kind of one of the requirements, you know. Like one of the ports is going to be vulnerable. You can be pretty sure about that. Application security, beyond the basics. How? Thank you. Application security, beyond the basics. First, define application security, of course. Now, we all know the basic, let's say web application security, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, all of those basics, we all know them. But like you're probably wondering, how can I go beyond this, right? Well, a great resource for that, for example, would be the CWE. CWE lists all of the vulnerabilities that are possible, and you can go through them. A second good idea would be to pick up a secondary skill, like instead of just network pen testing, also web pen testing, API pen testing, mobile pen testing, IoT pen testing, Web 3.0. There's more than enough to do there. So if you want to go in one of those fields, set out a path for yourself and make sure that you can realistically follow that path as well. Now, another thing is architecture. APIs, microservices, things moving into the cloud like Azure, DevOps, those things are going to be very, very important in the future, that you know about them at least, and that you're able to be proficient with them, because they say Active Directory is the future, and well, almost anything uses Active Directory these days. I've never had to use it in that way. For me, it's just a different type of hacking that I do, I guess. Let's see, why would I take your course over a certification course? I'm quite interested. That's also a great question. Why would you take my course over anybody else's course? I take things differently. I look at them differently. Of course, recently there has been a release by Hack the Box for a certification around pen testing as well. That's also great. That's one of the few that look at PTES, look at everything around pen testing as well. But I go a little step further and I try to include at least network, API, and web hacking. So that is a trifecta, in my opinion, that you should at least know these days. And then you can still specialize from there. Besides that, my exam is super realistic. Well, realistic, the thing is, we do weird things, like we change scope in the middle of your test. We just realistically knock down servers to just confuse you because your scanner might knock them down. We have threat actors that come in and try to exfiltrate data through you. You really cannot give them any data. If your communication at any point is unencrypted to us, like in a Discord server, and you just throw your report in there, I'm sorry, but that's an automatic failure. We have 10 quality gates set out for people to go through, and if they can't pass those quality gates, well, then I'm not comfortable putting them on my clients, and that was the whole point of my certification. I also want my testers to know more than just PTES. I want them to know OSSTMM, I want them to know what a RAF calculator is, and I want them to know that you can achieve full security and you can achieve full coverage according to RAF, according to OSSTMM. How do you calculate that? The details, the exact details are not super important, but it's still important to know all about this. So those things are really, really important. I do really put a lot of emphasis on those, and I take you through my life lessons into a capstone project where I try to, at least throughout the whole course, train you to a point where you can complete a full pen test alone or with a team. That's kind of my whole point. If other people have a different idea of their certification, like OSCP, they clearly have a different idea of their certification. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, for example, the privilege escalation, I've never really had to do that. When I get into a client's network, they tell me to get the hell out of there and report it to them. Not try to get every single last bit of information from them. Like, it's just a different approach of testing. And it's a different way of learning. PNPT is also a great alternative, by the way. I love that certification exam. Plus, also, by the way, my course also comes with a certification. It comes with an exam, so be careful if you take the exam. That's all I can say. I'm going to try to screw you over on every possible way. Not really screw you over, of course, but like a client would. I'm going to mess up the NDA. I'm going to tell you go start testing without signing anything. All of these things are very important, that you tell me, oh, stop, Mr. Client. You've given me way too much scope here. I cannot handle this. It's really important that you guide me through the process. I'm the client. I don't know anything about pen testing, and I just want everything tested. Just everything that I have, because I'm the client. So that's where my certification is a little bit different. Thanks for the question. I really appreciate it. Please make a YouTube video about pivoting and port forwarding, explaining the difference between local, remote, dynamic, etc. I'm sorry, that's just not my specialty. I'm gonna be very honest. I did my OSCP. I got like my networking. I did that in school. I don't like networking anymore. If you want port forwarding, I'm going to have to redirect you to other resources, unfortunately not mine. The Web3 pen testing course. Yes, good question. First of all, the broken access control course had to be done. So now that the broken access control course is done, it's out. I haven't officially put anything out about that yet, but you guys can get it from thexssrat.com already. And I try to go through like every aspect that I know about broken access control, and try to make it a little bit understandable, where you can have your own methodology, including again a capstone project. And then the Web 3.0 is coming, that's for sure, because Web 3.0 is becoming a big one. Now we all know that Web 3.0, we can just guess, we can just guesstimate, that's all. But still, if we have exploits that we know about, certain types, and there are pen testing platforms, or I should say bug bounty platforms with Web 3.0, like Hack and Proof, for example, why not, right? It's much less competition then you're hacker one, for example. So go for that. That's also another reason to pick up an extra skill. Let's see, as you have vast experience now on pen testing and bug bounty. Whoa, slow down there, Buster. I don't have vast experience on anything. I'm a 31-year-old kid in like a grown man's body. What would you do if you're new to the InfoSec world and start learning? Oh, great question, my friend. What would I do if I'm new to this world and start learning? Nothing different, to be honest. I would just take my OSCP because they cover quite a lot of aspects in there. See that I at least have my bases covered, and then see where I can move from there. Do I want to go into network, API? Like, I know that the world is vast, but unless I've seen everything, I can't really know what I want to do. Do I want to do malware development? Do I want to do like SOC? There's so much different aspects to it, but I had to see them all first. So would I do anything different? No. I would just dive straight in. I'm just a stubborn rat as well. I just dive straight in. If I want something, I'm gonna get it. And it doesn't matter how long it's going to take me, I'm going to plan it out until I have it. And the same goes for hacking, that was no different. I just did what I wanted to do, and I had like a goal in mind, becoming a pen tester. Wasn't that concrete yet at the time. I knew that OSCP was probably going to be my entry into the world, because I asked people, would you tell me OSCP or Certified Ethical Hacker? And we all know what reputation EC Council has. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but OSCP was the great choice there, not Certified Ethical Hacker. That, for me, the best choice ever was to say no, Certified Ethical Hacker. I'm sorry, I bought your course and stuff like that, but I'm going to focus on OSCP. Mainly because the things that are taught there were different, and when I did Certified Ethical Hacker, you didn't really have a practical exam either, so it's a little different world, Let's see, do we have more questions? Of course. Hello sir, I'm from Nepal. How do you learn any new type of attacks technology in a short period of time? What is your learning methodology? If you want to learn new things, fail fast, fail hard, and do it often. Repeat. Try things until you basically smash your head against the wall and see what sticks. Like, that's my way of learning fast. I'm just going to try everything that I can, and if I'm completely stuck and don't have anything else that I can try, I'm gonna reset and I'm going to reinvestigate all of my avenues, see where I can mess up, see where I can improve even more. Like, for example, right now, I had a automation project at work, and I'm quite proud of that. I didn't need any help with Git. I made my own branch, I checked it in, and it may seem like you freaking noob. You can't even check in a branch or what? I can, but it's always so risky, and especially in a new environment with like a big infrastructure. Anyway, I did it, and I'm quite proud of myself. Thank you very much. How do I learn fast? Just try over and over again, and eventually you'll break through, or you'll break your head and you'll say, nope, that's not the way, that's not the thing I want to learn. Like SQL injection, for example, pretty early on, I noticed that SQL injection wasn't that interesting to me. Cross-site scripting was much more interesting, so cross-site scripting, right? Hey AVN, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much. Like, this is a great thing that you're doing, and I wanted to ask, if someone wants to move into GRC, and the certifications they require are like 3+ years or 5+ years of experience, and they are not really interested in offensive side, but in defensive. So how would we go about that? How would we carve a pathway for that?
That's a great question, and I think it's a great question because we often like to think, like I'm gonna be completely honest and upfront with you about this. I have no fucking clue. I am not a blue teamer. I'm not defensive at all. But more and more we are expected to be, because we are expected to do code reviews that are related to security, architectural reviews, give security advice. we're basically a every color at this point. We're partially developers as well, because we sometimes have to develop automation frameworks and API requests, and like it's a strange world. I'm sorry I can't help you with that. If anybody else has any advice for my friend, feel free to come up and speak up. I'd love to hear your advice as well. This is something that I learned early on as well. Like, I don't know everything at all. Like, there's so much more I can learn. It's quite interesting. Are you looking for anything in that field, or?
It's like I think, in my opinion, it's like they can start with being an associate analyst to know like how how to handle incidents first, and then how policies are made, and how internals of like system internals are made, and then they can go for assessing risks to that systems, and then they can go from there. So I thought that was my the path, but I'm still not sure, so I'm just discovering for them.
I have to be honest with you, like those SOC folks, they're a special kind of people. It's like, why do you like looking through logs all day and investigating incidents? That's for me one of the most boring jobs out there. Like when we got hacked, I hated going through the logs. I'm really not good at that stuff.
These stories, I understand. I get you.
But I understand though, because like at my work as well, I love QA. I love everything QA related, and I always insist that we at least have like a Kibana or something to look in through our logging system, because I want to look at patterns. I like recognizing patterns, and I see that in logging often as well. And like you say, there are, I think, let me see. There was, I'm looking for the document. There was like a security operations center. Is it this one? No, yeah, I think it's NIST CS. NIST SOC. So NIST has an SOC document specifically. That's a good one to go through if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Was it NIST? I'm not sure. I'll look it up and I'll paste it in this thread as well. It's again really interesting that you guys are so interested in that kind of stuff. I'll never get it, but it's really necessary, and as we see things evolve, we're going to see much more SOC analysts as well, because let's be real, a pen tester, it's really hard to plan a pen tester in for multiple pen tests, whereas an SOC analyst can easily handle a few customers at the same time. You're usually not stuck to the same customer.
That's true. Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. Was it SOC2? No, I lost the document itself. But there's like compliance. Yeah, I think it is SOC2 compliance. Yeah. Exactly, SOC2 compliance, like to the five trust service principles: security, availability, processing, integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. That's.
I'll have a look. Thank you.
I'm going to paste this in the thread on Twitter. That way, at least if I can find out how to do that, because oh my god, I'm such a noob at that stuff. I'm just going to send out a tweet, and if you guys just go to click on my little orb there, you can go to my Twitter account, and there you can see it. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. I wish you good luck on your endeavors, because, again, I don't want to be in your shoes having to go through all those log files. And also, like you say, the assessment itself is a big part of it. Like, if you have a vulnerability in front of you, assessing that is not the easiest part. Holy freaking hell, by the way. Where are all you guys coming from? There's a lot of people in the Twitter live space, so if you guys want to go there, feel free to go there and ask your questions as well. We have some more questions here. Can I skip web dev lessons and jump into the web pen testing based on CCNA level, networking, RDBMS, and Python and tools operating knowledge? Now, as far as I know, RDBMS is remote database management systems. Correct me if I'm wrong. And there's like a bunch of things in this question. Can I skip web dev lessons and jump into web pen testing based on? So you're asking, can I do web pen testing if I have like a networks training and some Python stuff? Yeah, of course. Like the thing is, if you have development ideas, if you have architectural ideas, those are always going to help you. But as long as you're able to understand code and like read code a little bit, the thing is, if you find like a SQL injection, you really need to understand what database system you're fighting as well. So all of those things will come into play. It's definitely good to have them. So can you skip directly to web pen testing? Yeah, of course. Like you didn't even need networking knowledge. The thing is just that the more IT basic knowledge you have, the faster it will go. For me, I had like 7 years of base IT knowledge before I even jumped into pen testing. So if you have that as an experience level, why not, right? Why not just try? And if you fail, you can still go and try to develop a few websites as a passion project and see if you can hack your own websites, you know? That's always fun to do. Usually you can, by the way, spoiler alert, especially in the beginning. What's your favorite type of bug to find, and what seems to be the most common in the wild that you usually find? My favorite is business logic vulnerabilities, because those require some deep understanding of the application that you're fighting, and they cannot be automated. And the most common that I see is broken access control vulnerabilities. Why? I have no idea, but they're super common in anything that has granular user access control. Like if I'm talking about a newspaper or like a blog website from somebody that you can visit, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the HR applications, the business-to-business applications, the ticketing systems, those things, everything that has rights with it. Those things have a lot of broken access control issues, and you might even think like something as big as Jira or Confluence, they could never have that. That's not true. Even those things, like a big company like Atlassian can have those issues. So it's something that you really have to be careful with. Let's see, and what would you think about CH version 12 exam? Is it worth it for newbies? Depends. If you want to go SOC route, if you want to go blue teaming route, yeah, definitely. If you want to go red teaming route, look at other options. Just for that price, there are better options available out there. I'm not gonna tout my own horn here, but like if you look at something like PNPT, even that is a lot better in my book. Let's see. Vidir asks, this could be a stupid question, but how do you update yourself with upcoming issues? The base of the issues never really changes. Like cross-site scripting, if I say cross-site scripting, for example, I'm talking about injection vulnerabilities. If I'm talking about LDAP injection, it's LDAP injection. SQL injection. You get the point. Command injection. It's always an injection, an unsanitized user input. The way I keep up with new things is by looking at new technologies that are coming out, like front-end technologies, back-end technologies, server-side templating engines, and looking at their manuals and seeing, okay, this is a dangerous function, like the dangerous inner HTML, for example, for jQuery. Don't use that stuff. I look at their security section in particular, and I see, okay, this is something that you really have to be careful with, because even these modern frameworks, if used incorrectly, can produce some big vulnerabilities. And there are also some more modern vulnerabilities popping up, of course. Since JavaScript used to be predominantly a client-side scripting language, it's now turning also into a server-side scripting language. So there's more things there. Anyway, how do you keep up with that? Just try to look at what's coming out, what's new, and try to see if you can use that in your life, in your free time. If you have a few minutes here and there, this new thing came out called Docker, let me investigate it. Now I can orchestrate my containers using Kubernetes. What is an orchestrator? And then you're already a lot further along. Now let's move on to AWS coming out. Let me make a free account, let me see what it's all about. Let me just browse that stuff, be curious. That's all I can say about that. And no, it's definitely not a dumb question at all. How to find subdomains without any tools? Google Dorking. I know that that's still a tool, but that's hard one, of course, because how are you going to find subdomains unless they are explicitly mentioned in that case? Currently I am in your Udemy student API security testing course. Thank you for the new things. Thank you for joining the course. I really appreciate it. I'm in the process of updating that course as well, by the way, because I think I can have some additions there. How do you learn new stuff? Do you make notes? How do you learn and remember? I make a lot of notes. I literally write stuff. First, I write it down on paper so I can do it while I'm learning. I can go fast, and then I start making articles, teaching you guys. That really helps me as well to a degree, and I have a article library for myself for later on if I need anything to look back on. I have a big library of books here that I've written full, and you might be thinking, Uncle Rat, writing in a book, that's silly. But in those books, I know every single thing on every single page. If I look for broken access control nodes, I know that they are in 2 of my books on about that page. I can go there, I can find it easily. While on my computer, I am in such a mess, I cannot find anything. And especially if I want to be fast, I'll probably put it in a folder that I'll never look at again. And bam, that's that. So, great question, my friend. I think Let's Defend has some good stuff. Also, you should want to learn something on the blue team side. Elk Splunk. That's a good suggestion, my friend. Let's see if we can get a link for that up as well. Let's Defend. That's a good platform. I like that. I'm going to throw a link to that in the chat as well. And I'm going to tweet that out. I'm sorry if I might be, like I said, a little bit messy here. But that should help. Great suggestions, Marcel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I'm an enthusiast for web security, for taking it as a career. Can you suggest some tips, please? Let's see. So you're like web security. You really want to get into this as a career? Well, then go and look at OWASP. OWASP Web Security Testing Guide. Read it from A to Z. And I don't mean OWASP Top 10, because that's just the top 10 vulnerabilities. Read all of it. All of it. And I know I might be stressing it a little bit too much, but Web Security Testing Guide is amazing. It really is. It helps you describe the entire development process. OWASP did a great job there. And it's not just the active pen testing that is described there, but also how to go about it and stuff like that. So, great question, my friend. Hey, how are you doing, Timothy? You have your mic muted, by the way. I don't know if you're speaking, but I can't hear you. Feel free to unmute yourself whenever you're ready. Let's see. So, what's happening there? All right. Now, let's go back on YouTube. Ooh, my stream is all offline on YouTube. I think that it has detected copyright again. That is so insane. This is literally copyright-free music, YouTube. Stop being a dumbass. Oh my god, YouTube does this every time. Luckily, at least we are still live, I guess, on Twitter. So I'll record the rest.